Harberg, who is the Metaverse Experience Strategist. He helps lead all Metaverse-related proposition and product and campaign development, including essential coordination and planning and tracking of client engagements, and a broader strategizing and coordination, better strategizing and delivering client pitches and proposals. He is involved in all client engagements and internal training for the team. He's incredibly passionate about the intersection between traditional advertising and Web3, experiential activations, and immersive media. And he is dedicating his career to understanding the convergence of digital and physical and what drives audience engagement. So he's going to share with us the current realities of immersive healthcare technologies. Thank you, Max. You can take the stage.
Awesome. Thank you so much for having me. Hi, everybody. I'm super excited to be here for Metaverse Safety Week. Thank you guys all for the opportunity. And as you said, I'm super excited to speak with you about all the current realities of immersing healthcare technologies, more specifically, how Metaverse and other immersive tech can truly elevate elements of healthcare, including education and training, rehabilitation, physiotherapy, pain management, and mental health and well-being. So with that, if you don't mind going to the next slide, I am super excited. Yeah. So as many of you may be extremely familiar with, as we're kind of all here today to speak about the metaverse and immersing technology, I still want to start by just running you through some of the underlying technology I'm going to discuss today, as I think it's important just to make sure that everyone has a bit of an understanding as we dive into some of the examples and themes. So first and foremost, I have up on here extended reality, or XR. And extended reality is, we like to define it as the expansion of user experiences through digital overlays and immersive environments. So it's delivered by augmented, mixed, and virtual reality systems, ultimately offering a better way to connect and learn virtually. So there are many applications of this that I'm going to talk about in a minute, but I just want to quickly discuss the difference between augmented and virtual reality. Again, a lot of this may be knowledge for some of you. However, I want to make sure that we have a good kind of collective understanding of how this is going to relate to healthcare before we dive in, just to make sure that everyone can kind of understand and enjoy the presentation. So if you don't mind going to the next slide. Thank you. So VR, virtual reality, as you know, is a headset-based immersive environment that enables multi-user remote collaboration and rich situational and technological training. So in a business sense, it's a compelling way to train and build stakeholder relationships. But for us today, let's think of it as an immersive technology that allows us to perform simulation-based training, both tactical, so that's like surgical and other medical procedures, learning and educating how to do that, being able to really learn and practice in a virtual environment. So that's tactical, and soft skills. So that's like interfacing with patients, other stakeholders, parents, children, things of that nature. So that's kind of the soft skills aspect of VR. Then you have augmented reality, AR, and that is engaging digital content that is overlaid on top of the real world. So offering the ability to guide, train, build, and connect individually or with others. And this can be accessed via a headset, a mobile device, and in the future, some sort of glasses or other wearable device. So that's kind of in a business sense and in a basic kind of dictionary definition of what AR is. But today, let's think of it as an interactive digital experience that can be used to visualize data, create digital twins, and guide training. Now, this can be done live, or it can be done in school and educational purpose while people are practicing, et cetera. And then, of course, I don't have it on here specifically, but traditional desktop, tablet, and mobile devices are also just the kind of that third underpinning hardware technology that allows you to access metaverse environments like virtual worlds. That's just a third kind of piece of it, but that's not necessarily what I'm going to focus on today. Mainly on AR, augmented reality, and VR, virtual reality. So if you mind going to the next slide, please. Just to give you a little glimpse of the content that I'm going to be covering here. So as you can probably guess by the name of the discussion, I'm going to specifically discuss how these kind of metaverse or immersive technologies can be used to benefit healthcare and be beneficial for kind of healthcare processes. So remember to keep these 4 themes in mind throughout the remainder of the talk, and with any questions that you may have afterward. We'll leave some time for questions after, but think about training in medical education, mental health and well-being, rehabilitation and physiotherapy, and pain management. So we're going to kind of dive into these and a few more, but as we kind of discuss examples and technology, I just want you to remember these 4 themes, as everything will start to relate back to them. So if you don't mind going to the next slide. Thank you. So I know this is a bit complicated and text heavy, but I wanted to make sure, especially for everyone watching on like a live stream, you can kind of see all of this, and I'm going to talk you through it in a little bit of simpler terms. But let's start at the top. So first, we're going to talk about medical education. So as I mentioned, when I was highlighting the underpinning technologies, both soft and hard skills can be trained with extended reality. And extended reality technologies have the potential to improve the nature of education and training within healthcare through the power of telemedicine and building muscle memory in a risk-free environment to speed up learning. So I'm going to speak on a few of the statistics here in a little bit about V-learning, but it's an extremely risk-free environment, helps with confidence, and allows you to have that kind of simulation-based training without having to be in the moment working with people. Because when you're learning, you want to be in a stress-free environment. You want to have the opportunity to really learn, grow, understand what you're doing. So this has great value for clinicians, medical user groups, students, et cetera. And additionally, there are a lot of schools that leverage this technology as well to help teach their students. So I've listed a few examples here, and I'll kind of touch over them. The UK hospital systems are using VR simulations to help medical students train for surgery, to train nurses. People are using this technology as well. And also for soft skills, again, I spoke about that, help doctors better empathize with their patients. So imagine being able to interact with your patients and get real-time feedback while being able to train. It's a lot different than just sitting in a classroom and learning about these types of things. You're actually able to practice and articulate and have real-time feedback as you are practicing. So next, let's go into number 2. And number 2 is mental health and well-being. And this is it's all on 2 and 3 are on here as well. And this is a topic that's extremely important and consistently talked about in the industry and society at large. So extended reality technologies have the potential to positively impact the mental health of multiple key user groups in the healthcare systems through video games, teleportation, and other experiences. So Cora, a Danish VR and AR production studio, kind of going into some examples, produces VR modules that are focused on exposure therapy, social anxiety, schizophrenia, that have been deployed in multiple Danish hospitals, right? So these VR environments allow individuals to connect, play, and socialize globally. And they can build community and meaningful relationships with new and current friends and family. And next, on the last thing on the slide, we have rehabilitation and physiotherapy. So extended reality technologies can allow patients to perform rehab while at home. So this not only frees up patient time, but also clinicians, which allow people to practice more efficiently and help a larger audience. Think about all of the current at-home exercise.
Hello, Martin. And just want to check in and acknowledge you.
Yes. Oh, sorry, should I keep going? Hello? Am I good to keep going? Oh, cool, cool. Sorry. So beautiful. Thank you. So again, this is, think about all
Go
the
ahead
current.
and keep going, please.
Yes.
If you can hear me.
Oh, I can hear you. Can you hear me? Hello?
And keep going.
Perfect. So think about the
Go ahead and
at-home.
keep going.
Cool. Think about the current at-home exercise and physical therapy apps and classes that have appeared over the past years. Right now, imagine being able to leverage this immersive technology to make classroom sessions more intimate. Imagine AR glasses with the opportunity to project colored lines onto the floor, helping
Go
people
ahead
with
and keep going.
patients. Oh,
May proceed.
I guess for some reason, my microphone isn't working. Oh no.
I can hear you. You're fine.
Oh, you can't hear me. Okay, perfect.
Yeah.
So if you don't mind going to the next slide, please, we'll keep moving forward.
Okay.
Awesome. So pain management. As extended reality environments are extremely immersive and interactive technologies can distract and lower perceptions of pain by focusing the mind on other activities. In some scenarios, that can be used to substitute a painkiller. Essentially, it's harder to lose focus so in an immersive environment, so the distraction can easily ease anxiety before and after painful medical procedures. And some examples include VR therapies provide hydrotherapy VR solutions to adults with disabilities and children with special needs, reducing pain where traditional treatments fail, and supporting exercise engagements by enabling patients to swim with VR dolphins and seals. And another incredible example of this is Snow World. I don't know if any of you have seen this before, but Snow World is very interesting. It's a VR experience made to actually ease the pain of burn victims. So Snow World immerses patients in an icy tundra, shifting the patient's concentration away from their pain to an icy virtual environment that's bathed in cool blues and whites. So their task is simple. They're simply throwing snowballs at penguins. And while this might seem extremely questionable from the outside, responses from patients actually show that 35 to 50% of patients have less pain compared to a moderate dose of opioid painkillers. This is extremely interesting. And this experience has actually been used by Shriners Hospital for Children in Texas and Harborview Medical Center in Seattle. So this is something extremely interesting that you never would have thought, that VR has this opportunity to truly improve and have a positive impact on pain management. And it's just as important to inform and educate patients as it is to train medical staff, right? So patients are curious and often anxious about treatments and procedures. So they often need doctors to break down complex terms, information, and medical results. So extended reality technologies can really help make complex information and treatment and medication instructions a lot simpler. They can give patients this information in a more understandable, tangible way. Interactivity allows user groups to recall tasks better, something proven to be beneficial for caregivers as well. In one example, in a program, patients watched a VR video on a mobile phone that showed the effects of sodium intake on the body. And this helped illustrate how eating foods with high in sodium can directly lead to high blood pressure and cardiovascular disease. So it's not just about training medical professionals and students, but also the opportunity to interact with patients and display and educate information to them in an interactive way. And lastly, let's discuss a bit of onboarding and recruitment and remote assistance. So not necessarily a main of the 4 themes, but still something super important to discuss. Examples where people are coming in and using metaverse technologies to share their approaches, educate, onboard staff, show people emergency procedures in medical facilities when they're simply actually being onboarded into the specific facility or hospital themselves. This is just onboarding, recruitment, and remote assistance that can be helpful kind of outside of the actual medical field, but when they're coming into their new jobs. And if you don't mind going to the next slide, I want to quickly go back to education and show some statistics from an internal study that we actually did on V-learning. And this is super interesting and can definitely share. It's public on the internet that PwC did about V-learning and about how using metaverse technologies can be more efficient for effective training with students, staff, and management. So these are just a few key takeaways I wanted to discuss that relate directly back into everything that we've been talking about, right? So people are 3.75 times more emotionally connected to the information they learn than in classrooms because they're actually able to interact and perform some of the learnings that they're learning. Students and staff and management are 4 times more focused than their e-learning peers. So this is looking at kind of just videos online, but when you're actually immersed in this environment, you know, you're more focused. You're not able to kind of drift away and get distracted as much. This is a really interesting one that I think is the coolest of all 4, that people that train in V-learning are 275% more confident to apply skills learned after training. So this goes back to a lot of the different things that we discussed: soft skills with interacting with patients, hard skills, interacting with procedures. People are simply more confident to use those skills because they have trained in low stress environments. And then lastly, people are 4 times faster to train than in a classroom setting because they can't get as distracted again when they're in this immersive environment. So if you don't mind going to the next slide, I want to dive a bit deeper into some of these industry examples that bring these themes to life with these technologies, how these technologies actually apply to the industries that we're living in. A lot of this stuff is already starting to be used. So if you'll start by going to the next slide, please. Alexion created a opportunity to visualize the drug process. So they created a VR experience for visualizing, you know, the drug process, as patients are often extremely curious, as are medical staff, what medicine actually does to the body, right? So they built an experience that allows patients to visualize what happens from the moment they take the pill as it goes through the bloodstream. So the experience shrinks the user down and they essentially jump into a blood vessel and start the process of drug circulation through the body. And participants were privileged to experience this immersive learning journey as they are able to become informed about how some of these medications will then combat the diseases. If you'll go to the next slide, please. I want to talk about Pfizer. So they had a VR training piece all about using digital twins for sterilizing injectable facilities. So companies are looking to innovate, right? Making experiences more immersive and engaging for both patients and for staff. So with the help of VR technology, Pfizer is creating a $45 million sterile injectable factory with this virtual factory component that will harness digital twin technology to optimize the supply chain as well as train employees in a more efficient way. So armed with virtual reality wearables like a MetaQuest 2 or Google Glass, trainees can test in a virtual rendering of the Michigan facility from almost any location, similar to a surgeon practicing from a complex surgical procedure. And this new factory will leverage VR training, robotics, and the latest isolator-based tech, which promises to keep products safe from contamination. Thanks to digital twins, factory workers can now tour the new buildings and learn how to do their jobs without ever stepping foot inside the facility before this is built, right? So facilities don't even need to be physically built. They can be in the process of being made, and they can still train inside them and learn how the facilities work and what they're going to be doing inside the facilities. And then a next example. So using virtual reality simulator, this is a really interesting one. So GSK partnered with DDB Remedy, the ad agency, to recreate what migraines feel like. So it's interesting that 36 million people in the US suffer from migraines. And this experience was made to show how debilitating and difficult it is to those who have never had one. So what they did is they created an experience, although there was no physical pain, the experience tried best to simulate the difficult visual symptoms that often signal the beginning of migraines, such as distortion, auras, and sensitivity to light. And this experience was extremely effective, and it actually won 3 creative awards at Cannes Lions Health Show. And it's extremely difficult, obviously, to explain to someone that has never had a migraine before and the effects it has on the body without actually having one. So that's kind of what the point of this activation was. By using augmented reality, a non-sufferer experience can really understand what a scenario would be like with someone who has migraine symptoms, and how it alters what, how they go around their life, what they see, what they do when they're having these things. And lastly, in 2019, on the next slide, please, UConn did something very interesting, UConn Health. So they discovered a medical software company that offers interactive VR experiences for surgical training in orthopedics. So the software offers medical grade VR training and educational modules that enable surgeons to practice procedures in a safe environment and at a relatively low cost. And this is using Oculus headsets. So this goes back to the statistics I was discussing before, the low stress environment and opportunity to train in this immersive setting. So these are only a few of the many examples that are out there of industry leaders and companies leveraging these immersive experiences in healthcare. So if you'll go to the next slide, I just wanted to share an example of some stuff that we've done actually at PwC. So at PwC, we do a lot with development and creation for our clients and our internal practice. And we created a platform that accelerates the design process of a healthcare facility to help visualize the review progress with their customers. So blueprints, as it says here on the slide, right? Blueprints and technical drawings are not enough to communicate a sense of scale and customer experience to doctors and nurses. And that's why we developed an immersive experience that lets them experience the facility firsthand. And they can change the design in real time and accelerate the decision-making process as they are designing a healthcare facility. And this is really similar if you're thinking about this in kind of a general sense of being able to go on and place furniture in a room so you're able to really see what it's going to look like before you go through the process of actually building the building. That is kind of what this kind of activation is working with. And it's super interesting. I just wanted to touch on kind of how these experiences are brought to life. And I know we're kind of getting towards the end of the talk, so I'll just fly through this. If you'll just go to the last slide. I just wanted to kind of talk, if you go back one more, here's more of here are more kind of visualizations and pictures of what this looks like and what this can look like once it's kind of built and you're able to walk around and all that kind of stuff. So if you'll go to the next slide, just kind of how you can bring your metaverse's experience to life if you're looking to do stuff like this. Right, if you're looking to use this technology and bring some of these experiences to life, VR, AR training, etc. It's important to really go discover opportunities. This is how we do it at PwC, right? Discovering opportunities, accelerate stakeholder buy-in, and build a cohesive view. And this is just basically saying the approach is making sure you understand kind of what you're looking to achieve when you're implementing these metaverse technologies? Are you looking to help with training? Are you looking to help with soft skills, hard skills? You can see with a lot of these examples how there was tangible opportunity when applying these technologies. And so that is kind of just what I wanted to share. And thank you guys so much for coming in and allowing me to speak with you guys about some of the research and examples that I've seen. Yeah, so thank you very much. I know we're coming up close on time. I hope I didn't speak too long and not leave enough time for questions, but yeah, thank you guys very much.
There are time for questions if anyone would like to ask questions. Okay, yes, I see. Flavia, if you'd like to unmute.
Yes, I'd like to know more specifically how we can work with mental health in virtual reality. Some examples, if you can.
I'm so sorry. It cut out a little bit. Do you mind? Is it possible to message the question in the chat?
Flavia was asking about how about mental health applications in Metaverse.
I'm sorry. Do you mind repeating that one more time? It cut out.
Sorry, that's okay. Mental health applications in the Metaverse. Do you have any examples of that?
Yes,
usage?
mental health applications. So that is kind of the idea, and I touched on it a little bit. Really, the idea is bringing people together, right, and providing stimulation, not keeping people isolated. This was really seen a lot during the heat of the pandemic, right, when we were isolated and it was hard to really have that meaningful personal connections. The opportunities for virtual reality, and I have definitely examples that I can share if you want me to send your way. Just how people were able to connect and people were able to use kind of these immersive experiences to feel a sense of connection and feel a sense of immersion rather than just being isolated at home. Yeah, so that's kind of where the mental health opportunities really came into play.
Okay. Flavia, does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
Of course.
All right. Tomo?
I was wondering whether, in that vein, whether you know of any studies where the use of visualization has been applied to medicine. That is, inasmuch as there is a placebo effect well known for decades, has anyone been
I'm so sorry. Do you mind repeating it up here? It was a little bit hard to hear from down there.
So what I heard was that the visualization in VR relating to the placebo effect, is that on target, Tomo?
Is that on target? Is that the question?
Yeah.
To be honest, I don't have necessarily research on that specific stuff other than oh, I'm sorry. Was there more to the question?
That's as much as I gathered from what I could hear. Tomo, would you like to repeat the question and I can relay it?
I mean, I can touch a little bit on kind of like the idea of like the distraction. I understand like oh, I'm sorry. Were you saying something?
No, I wasn't. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to say potentially kind of going back to with the pain management and going back to that distraction of the brain and the immersion. I don't necessarily have statistics on the placebo effect itself, but just the examples and the idea of being in an experience that's fully immersive and being able to distract kind of the brain, switch it when people are thinking about like having pain, kind of like you could say like in the outside world, being able to be fully immersed, kind of like that snow example.
Right. There are many good examples of that redirection of attention in VR point of care, for sure. And some may call it placebo effect, but others may call it, managing your pain. So we are at time now, and we can, I believe, our scheduled break. Let's give a thanks to Max for his presentation on the breadth of applications of VR and XR in the medical space. And you're welcome to return to your seat and take a rest. And then I believe our break is, we are scheduled for a 15-minute break right now. So again, get some fresh air, a little movement, and we'll be back here in a little less than 15 minutes. And the topic for our next presentation is Privacy, Roe v. Wade, Evolution of the Metaverse and the Future of Mental Health Care Data Protection. Okay. All right, so we'll see you very soon.
Thank you.
Thank you.
For many, the metaverse is a buzzword. To us, it is an inevitability that we inch towards every day. The metaverse will reshape every industry that we know today, including manufacturing, education, healthcare, entertainment, retail, tourism, remote work, and beyond. We will see massive improvements that will impact the way we interact, communicate, and work, giving way to the immersive age, leading with technologies like extended reality, augmented reality, and virtual reality. In order to confront these realities, understand the risks, and truly benefit from the opportunities, we must have a common understanding of the challenges of these emerging technologies and their use cases. This is why XR Safety Initiative takes yet another step forward to help build a safe and inclusive metaverse. Created by a world-class assembly of experts, the XR Safety Initiative is proud to announce the Metaverse for All certification program. An informative and enlightening course to shed light on the many unknowns of how the metaverse will change the world. This course is aimed at both educating on the many aspects of the metaverse while leading with privacy, safety, security, ethics, and inclusion. These are critical aspects for any company, government, or hobbyist to stay relevant in this next generation of the internet. We are launching our first baseline certification in this series of certification courses. Register today at xrsi.org/forall and join us to build for a better tomorrow.